Today's topic, we're going to show you how to set up auto support for your NetApp filers. We're going to look at 7 mode and cluster mode and go through the setup configuration for each. Now, if you don't have auto support available at your site, obviously this doesn't apply to you. But for those of you that do have auto support available, it's a very crucial tool to have. Goes through a lot of configuration, error checking, points out issues, helps you upgrade code, does a lot of stuff for you that's really helpful in a support situation. You can also pull it up on your phone, on your smartphone, on your iPad. All that's available to you. So once you have it configured and working, it's a very valuable tool for field and support. So let's go through how to actually set it up. The first method we're going to use to configure auto support will be the CLI method. I'm going to start with a 7 mode system. We will SSH into the system here. Alright, you can see we're at our NetApp prompt, so we're ready to start. So the first thing I want to do is find out what my current auto support setting is. I'm going to type in options, auto support, and it will print out a list of all the options that apply to auto support. So as you can see here, auto support is currently set to off, and I'm not configured for any mail servers, anything like that, other than the defaults at netapp.com. So let me show you how to start so we can configure this and turn it on. I'm going to start with an options, auto support, .enable, and then on. Okay, and you see it just returns back, doesn't tell you that you turned it on. If you really want to check it, run the options auto support again, and you'll see that it's enabled. But even though it's enabled, it doesn't have any place to put it other than sending it to auto support at netapp.com. However, there's not a mail host actually set up here. If you look here on autosupport.mailhost, it's just set to mail host. That's not going to go anywhere, so our email will never go out. So we need to set that up. So obviously this is something you need to get from the customer. They would need to have an external mail host available that they can point this to. Most customers have that. It's just a matter of getting it out of them. So let's start with that. Options auto support .mail host, and then we're going to put in the mail host. Let's just, for our purposes, we'll use mail.vion.com. Okay. We'll hit enter there, and it'll accept that one. Now we need to say where these auto supports are going to go to. So you have the default of autosupport at netapp.com, which is fine. We can leave it at that, but I'll just show you how to change that in case you need it to go somewhere else. There's also a note to that allows you to send it to the customer so the customer can get a copy of it. So we'll set the autosupport.note to, and we'll set that maybe to a customer D list. And then there's also an autosupport.partner to, and that's going to send it to the partner, which in this case is Vion. So we're going to set all 3 of those, and it's very simple. We just type in options, auto support. We're going to start with the .to, and we're going to change it from autosupport at netapp.com to, let's just say, support at netapp.com, just to illustrate. Okay, and we're going to type options, auto support .note to, and we're going to set this to a customer D list. Let's just say customer at customer.com. And then last, we're going to set this one to come to Vion. So we're going to say options auto support .partner .to, and we're going to say VSC staff at Vion.com. We'll accept that. Now let's take a look at our options auto support again, make sure we have everything in there. Alright, we've got auto support enabled to on. We've got our mail host set to mail.vion.com. It's going to customer at customer.com. Also CC'd to VSC staff at vion.com. And we've also changed the support to as well. Alright. So let's test it. Now in our case, this mail.vion.com is not going to work. We know it's not going to work, but I want to show you how to test it if you did actually have it working. So we're going to type options autosupport.doit, and then we'll just give it a test name, like test ASAP, for instance. So when we run this, it's going to go out and try to test, can it actually hit the internet and send an email and do all it's supposed to do. So in a properly configured situation, you would get an email eventually from NetApp saying accepted, and you could go look at your auto supports. So if you ever need to test it, that's the easiest way to do that. Alright, next thing we're going to look at is how to actually configure this from the GUI. Okay, we're going to set the same settings through the GUI, just so you're aware of how to do that through the GUI versus the CLI. Now this is all for 7 mode. In another video we're going to look at how to do it for cluster mode. So I'm going to log into my 7 mode system through System Manager, and I'm going to come to System Tools and Auto Support. Okay, and we're currently set to enable. That's fine. We're set to mail host, and all this stuff is blank. So very similar to the CLI, we're just going to edit this. We'll click the edit button. We're going to give it a from email address. So let's just say it comes from, I don't know, vsupport@vion.com. We're going to add some email recipients. Let's send it to here, and you can set if it's a complete message or a minimal message. Basically, a minimal message means that they're going to have to go look at the auto support on autosupport.netapp.com. Complete message, they'll get an attachment with basically the entire output of the auto support. So that's up to the customer what they want to set. So we'll set that as OK. And now we just need to add a mail host. Now we're going to delete this mail host because it's not really anything. We'll just say, again, mail.vion.com, for instance. And then we're going to set the transport protocol to SMTP. Now this is critical because in order to get the email recipients to get anything, you have to set it to SMTP. If you set it to HTTP or HTTPS, the auto support only goes to NetApp and updates the auto support page. So if you want email notification of these auto supports, then you have to set it, the transport protocol, to SMTP. Okay. We'll make that change. And now we're enabled mail.vion.com, and we didn't save our message recipient email addresses. We didn't add any of those. And we've got Ben Berlin receiving the minimal message recipient. There, we've enabled it. Now we'll test it. Give it a subject again, just like on the CLI, and click test. And the test starts, and again, it's not going to actively test here and show you the results. It's something that if you don't get the email, you know you're not configured correctly. So if our email server was set up correctly, we would expect to be getting this email from vsupport@vion.com. That's all there is to it. Take a look at the cluster mode session coming up. Thanks.